So I posted a post earlier today asking if. So let me go to the post. So I posted this, right? What should I do next for like a video idea? And so far this poll has only like received 1 vote, but still, it's someone. Now I can't vote for this, so I can't vote on it. So yeah, someone voted, what if civilization started over episode 2 over Georgian supremacy and Ron live stream? So that's what we're gonna be doing today. This video should be at least 20 minutes long, considering how long the actual this video actually is. So yeah, let's start.
So today we're going to be continuing to look at a scenario where civilization starts over. This is episode 2 of our brand new series, and it's going good so far. You guys have enjoyed it, and you guys have also left me with a lot of good ideas for what we can do with it. So I do want to thank you guys for that before we get into the video. Also, before we get into the video, make sure to show some support. We're aiming for 200,000 subscribers by the end of this year, and yeah, you can help out by obviously subscribing. You can leave a like, commenting, sharing the video. All that good stuff helps us out. And yeah, let's go ahead and continue to look at what if civilization started over. Now, one idea that you guys had was actually a really good one, and it was to color the white areas of the map gray in order to signify unexplored land. And I think that's a great idea. So the map will be gray temporarily, but we do.
Yes, this is what I wanted to see in the last video. But then again, this was like over a year ago, so I'm kind of late. I'm kind of late on everything now that I'm honest. My upload's good. Well, meh.
The color in the areas which have been explored thus far. Well, let me rephrase that. Areas that have been explored, not so much areas that are known about. So yeah, they haven't necessarily like explored the white areas, but they may have seen it with their eyes, or they've heard descriptions of it, but they haven't fully gone through with the exploration, unless they haven't fully claimed it. So this is what the world looks like. Now I know it might have looked different in the last episode, but this is what we're going to be basing it off of for now on, and the gray areas, like I said, have not been explored yet. Let me know what you think about this. If it hurts y'all's eyes, and if you don't like it, and it is not appealing, then I'll change it back. But yeah, we're rolling with this for now. So a lot happened in the last episode. You know, civilization was formed. That's a pretty significant thing. But first off, we have the red team being the first country to go on the move, and they move down the Red Sea and eventually meet up with the blue team's colony over here. Remember, the blue team used to be a part of the red team. They were once under the same kingdom. However, some differences made them split apart. And at this point, the red team is pretty much blocked in everywhere else. They can't go purple, or I mean, they could if they wanted to invade them, but there's really no point in doing that. They could go toward the green, but they were a part of them, and they kind of fought against each other, so there's really no point in doing that either. So really, the red team is kind of secluded to only going towards Africa.
I start nursing school.
God, how much I hate ads. But I really don't want to fall for the pie either, because what if pie is like a scam, you know? You never know, because many people like advertise it, and oh, you got big YouTubers advertising the thing. That doesn't mean that it's trustworthy.
Of course, they want to throw hands. Now, I did say something about the purple team in the last episode, and that was that they were going to be moving around the world map, and that is still their plan. However, there's one slight issue. They're stuck. As you can see, the yellow team completely boxes them in, and the red team is to their east, so they can't go east. So what the purple team does instead is that they go across the sea. Now, large-scale sea transportation isn't necessarily in the grasp of civilization just yet. However, they are able to transport people as well as scouts, and they make a landing in Greece and start to explore the peninsula. At this point, they start to colonize it, and they reach up across the coast over here and meet up with the other side of the yellow team, in which case now they have an easier way to get back and forth between the peninsula and, well, the other peninsula. They go ahead and claim more of the Greek area until eventually they stop and decide to fully settle in to the Greek Peninsula. Take a shot every time I say peninsula. You're not going to make it through the video. Meanwhile, we have the yellow team doing some expansion. They are moving around freely. Remember, these are the guys that wanted to go up north to get to the colder areas, and they have pretty much done just that as of now. But they also have interest in taking some of these southern Balkan areas, especially considering that the purple team is moving around down here and taking land that the yellow team could want. At this point, more and more of the Balkans are being discovered, and word gets out that there's a whole ginormous continent up here. Of course, they don't know about the Baltic Sea or anything like that, but they do know that there's a lot of open land right here along this half circle. The green team is fully aware of this, and they start to expand as well, now going north of the Caspian and heading into what is modern day Kazakhstan. Eventually, it is figured out that the Caspian Sea is in fact a sea and not an ocean, and with this knowledge, the green team seeks to fully encapsulate the whole sea. Did I use the right word? Encapsulate? Is that a word?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, why haven't they discovered Cyprus yet, though? You'd figure that like some scouts would get lost, and then like they'd figure out Cyprus exists. You know, right? Like, I mean, I don't know.
Encapsulate. Express the essential features of something. No, I was right. Enclose something in, or as in a capsule. I was right, sort of. Encapsulate, I guess, is an appropriate word to use. So yeah, the Caspian Sea country is now going to be referred to as the Caspian Sea country. And I know some of you guys were suggesting names. You guys were telling me to base it off of some other historical things. I think that might be too much for me, because eventually this whole map will be filled. And yeah, so we're just going to stick with certain country.
Yeah, I kind of forgot the names that I gave these guys the last video, so I'm just gonna call them by the colors. So like red, blue, dark green. I mean parsley green, gold, bright purple. Yeah, like that. Names like that.
You know, Caspian Sea country, or Southern Arabian country, or red country. At this point, people figure out Cyprus exists, and the red team
Finally.
goes on a long and excruciating journey across northern Africa to figure out what exactly is going on. They eventually see it joint upwards, in which case they now think that, you know, since there's land over here, there's probably land connecting over through here where Italy is. So the red team makes it their interest to follow this sea completely, and this is their official colony. Before, they were just exploring it and, you know, kind of marking it, but now they're officially colonizing it. And the red team gets itself all the way up to Tunisia, in which now they see that they were wrong, and there's more ocean up here. And now we have the Age of Exploration kicking off. Now, in real life, the Age of Exploration was when the Americas were colonized, right? In this case, it's now where these earlier civilizations are exploring the world map instead of focusing in on themselves. The red team has fully explored all of northern Africa and has found the Atlantic Ocean, in which now they stop and once again go to colonize this land. Although they don't go too far, because this point is very far from this point. And if you know anything about countries that are too big, if you're not stable enough, that tends to not last very long. So they stop and they stabilize themselves. They work on assimilating this, although there's no people there to assimilate. They more so, like, I guess, take firmer control of it. They move military assets over there to ensure that no one, you know, pops up like the green team did, who rebelled against the red team. So really what they're trying to do is just ensure their survival, even when they're stretching out very far. Now we have the blue team doing something very similar, but going down the other coast of Africa, except now they're not going to go all the way down. They're instead going to focus in on the Ethiopian area and fully shading in this. And once they have fully explored it, they go to colonize it. And this goes well for them for now, as they took over what is Somaliland and also Somalia and parts of Ethiopia.
File your tax
expansion going up north and exploring areas in the Croatian Bosnian area. They then colonize these areas, and soon it is figured out that Italy is a thing that exists. The red team also figures this out with seeing Sicily, and eventually they put.
So does Malta like not exist? Like does Malta exist, or are we just ignoring Malta for right now, or?
Put two and two together, and the Italian peninsula is now known about. So the red team takes the treacherous journey across the Mediterranean Sea and makes a landing in Sicily and colonizes the entire island, where the purple team does something different. They go over to the boot of Italy and colonize the southern portion, cutting off the red team from any further expansion of the peninsula. The red team isn't too happy about this, but they could honestly, just take Cyprus or Crete. So they let this slide for now. I mean, plus they have a whole continent down here they could go after if they really wanted to. But the issue with that is, the Saharan desert, that's kind of hard to explore. So they just don't. The Caspian Sea country, though, they have no fear of expansion. They're going to keep going, even if it means it destabilizes them. They eventually start to colonize all of what is modern day Iran. And from here, they move across the southern Asian coast. And something that happened a lot in early civilization history was like the breaking apart of and formation of new countries / civilizations. And really, there wasn't many
Real
continuous countries that survived very long, other than like the exception of like the Romans and the Ottomans. And that's something that I haven't really highlighted well here. Now, I'm not going to be basing any kind of like time off of this series, so there will be like no blank, it's year 100 or year 200 or something like that. That's too much to keep up with. So instead, we'll just probably go by time periods. So like I said, it's the age of exploration, but at a much earlier time. And like I said, back then, countries didn't stick around too.
What will the age of exploration be then, if once we get to like that point in time,
long. They usually collapsed or formed into something else, and the yellow team is about to figure that out. So rebels in the southern part of the yellow country break away from it and essentially say, hey, we don't like you anymore. They also start to colonize some land when they break away, and the yellow government is seen as weak. Now remember, these are the guys that wanted to go up north. They're the cold guys. They want it to be cold. They don't want to be warm and sweaty like it is in the Arabian desert. These guys, though, they don't care. They think that the yellow team was too focused on, moving around and getting to where they want to be, instead of focusing in on their civilians and, settling down as a country. So the orange part breaks away from it. This is a mixture of a bunch of different states / provinces within the yellow civilization. And as time goes on, more and more start to break away until eventually it's basically the entire western part of the country that is gone. Now, a majority of the yellow team's government is up here in like Crimea and over here near the Sea of Azov. So it's not too crippling, but they are going to try to fight their way out of this. Unfortunately for them, though, it's not going to go well. In fact, there's even more groups breaking away. This time, there's a group down here over where Georgia is that breaks away, and they're in.
Damn. What's going on, yellow team? What's going on?
Of joining up with the red team in order to avoid any kind of conflict with the red team and to not fight a two-front war. The yellow team grants them their independence, in which case the pink team takes this and runs and joins the red team, so the red team expands without doing anything. And now the yellow team starts to fight its war. This war is pretty brutal. It's the deadliest war of this time so far, and these civilizations have not seen fighting like this ever. The yellow team makes some pretty impressive gains going into what is present-day Romania. However, the orange team tactics are very similar to that of guerrilla warfare fighting.
Is orange country like yellow's Vietnam?
And eventually, exhausted and unequipped yellow team troops started getting pushed back by the orange team. Now, it is theorized that the orange team might be being supplied by one of these other countries. Who is actually doing it won't say, but the fighting definitely goes back and forth for a bit. The orange team makes some pretty impressive gains, and then the yellow team does, until eventually there's a stalemate, and from there they agree to peace. In the peace deal, the orange team is released. Simple as that. And now we have yet another civilization on the map. Now with their newfound independence, the orange team doesn't take any time to satisfy the civilians. The whole point of the orange team was to satisfy these civilians and to not take such an expansive policy. As we know, like I said, they do this, but as we know with governments in real life, they don't always keep their word.
According to this
team is right back to doing what the yellow team was doing, which is rapid expansion. They now reach over toward the purple team and connect up with them and share a border, but they don't go too far as to not fully lose the trust of their civilians. As you saw, the purple team took that land, and now they will be going up north and taking even more. They also expand their bases on the Italian peninsula and start to explore even further north until they meet the Alpine Mountains, in which case they are stopped. They don't have the capabilities to, a small group could probably do it, but they themselves don't have the capabilities to pass up on the Alpine Mountains. So instead they just kind of go around them, and humanity is at this point blocked from going further into Europe. Elsewhere, we have the green team continue to explore down into India. They now go down the southern coast and figure out that India is also kind of a well, I don't know if it's a peninsula. Yeah, it is a
Nah. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Land. That's literally what a peninsula is called, right? But that means 1, 2, 3. This is a peninsula. Think about it. Also, why haven't they explored this island? I know it's kind of insignificant, but explore it, please.
peninsula. They also figure out that a portion of Sri Lanka exists, and at this point humans have found themselves in various corners of the world. Well, their world. The red team sends an expedition that goes pretty much on par with the Nile River. They find a whole bunch of sand and a whole bunch of nothing, but they do expand their colonial claims deeper into Africa. At this point, the red team is obviously very large. Now, if a country like this, if a civilization like this was this big back then, it probably wouldn't survive for too long. But due to the aristocracy that rules it, they are very people friendly, and they also want to expand like any other country does, but they also keep in mind their civilians. So kind of like with the yellow and orange team, what happened there, the red team is what the yellow team should have been. Also, let me know in the comments, which civilization is your favorite? I want to know.
Red team. Red team. Red team favorite. I'm red team.
Personally, the red team, because it's red and because it was the first civilization. Yeah, let me know what you like in the comments. I could see the purple team probably being a dark horse contender among the favorites. It's probably my second favorite, and it's not because purple is one of my favorite colors either. JK, it's definitely because of that. Anyway, yellow team. They learned their lesson, but they're not going to learn their lesson for long. They're going to continue to go north and try to get even colder. These guys have a fetish with coldness. An exploration group eventually makes its way up, and they find themselves in the Baltic area and along the Baltic Sea. Hey everyone else, we found water. Although it's not a lot of it because it looks like it's a gulf. The Gulf of Finland. There's also this really big lake. Alright, the yellow team has found its coldness. In fact, it's maybe a little too cold. And all in all, they do an amazing job in exploring northern Europe, discovering almost all of the Baltics and southern Finland. And now they take their leave and go as they start to expand even further.
Yellow team looks like a goat. Looks like a goat or a bison.
Further north. The yellow team also has a pretty good monopoly on lumber. Now, of course, the orange and purple team do as well, but they're going really good with that. You know, they have all of Ukraine. I mean, the green team eventually will have a good monopoly on uranium. Too bad that won't be discovered until, thousands of years later. All right, something's going on with the blue team. Let's check that out. All right, that's not too good. We have another area breaking away. This time, though, the blue team doesn't really feel like fighting it, and the blue team eventually takes over the other blue team, and we have
Yeah, let's go.
our sole first African civilization popping up. And the blue team is kind of like depressed. I don't think they're too happy, not.
depressed. Kind of depressed. I mean, okay, this is kind of funny.
Happy. The king probably isn't too happy either. You know, he's got his crown and, you know, king stuff going on, but he's probably not too happy. Not happy at all. So anyway, new country, yay. The red team doesn't really interact with them, but you know what they do is that they expand further into Africa to kind of block them off from taking any land from them. And the teal team doesn't give a crap because they weren't even looking to do that. They're more set on establishing themselves. Meanwhile, back up north, the yellow team does a little bit more. They take a little bit more land, and then they stop before the orange team has part 2. And the green team is continuing to expand southward, except they're starting to fight themselves. And what I mean by that is that, well, as you can see, green team is very elongated. And the green team is interesting because it's not like the other countries, which are mostly all aristocracies. You know, at first we had our dictatorship ruling, we had our then we had our aristocracies.
Have you heard of carparts.com? Check this out.
They have over 1 million quality parts?
That are guaranteed to fit and hassle-free returns.
Oh, I guess you didn't need my help after all.
Nope, I just needed carparts.com. Now that's my speed.
First we had our dictatorships, now we have our aristocracies, and if you know anything about ancient history, then you know the next part is monarchy, and then after monarchy you have democracy, and after democracy you have whatever comes next, probably republicanism, I guess. But these guys, they never got the aristocracy memo. They have a rule by dictator, and that's because the guy that broke away, who was in this province, just wanted power, and he got it. He got a lot of land. But the military isn't too happy about that, and the military is the one that's doing the expanding for them. So the military says straight up, screw you, and they just kind of overthrow the whole southern area of the country.
Real.
And that's not good for the green team for many reasons. One, they're now disconnected from this area over here. I mean, they can go up and around, but that's boring. And 2, this is a lot, and it's their entire military. So the green team is going to immediately surrender over to the lime team. This is a military revolution, and unless they start conscripting their own citizens, which are, they're probably not going to listen to the dictator because he's a dictator, then they won't be able to fight at all. So they agreed to peace with the green team under the condition that they get the full access to the Caspian Sea, in which the lime team will grant that. However, they have to agree to a border rework. In other words, I don't like how this looks, so we're going to change it. All right, that's slightly less hideous. And the reason for this, major city right here, well, not major city, because there are no major cities, but this is like a big population center, and the green team wanted to make sure that they had that, so that was part of their condition. Other
Border guard.
than that, the lime team is free. And what do you know? They go right back to doing what they were forced to do by the dictator. They expand their country a little bit further until eventually they stop colonizing and instead send out exploration teams who are going to focus in on the Indian subcontinent area / India. And at this point, pretty much all of India is known about. Back over in Europe, we have the purple team completing their conquest of the Italian peninsula and completely colonizing the entire thing. They now meet up with the Alpine Mountains and are essentially blocked from going anywhere else because the orange team just took the remaining area that meets up with the Alpine area. And this is what we have our map looking like. And that's actually going to do it for today's video. So it's a little bit shorter, and I do apologize about that. But there is also one thing I want to talk about before we go. Alternate Future of the World Season 2. I messed up. I lost the map. I don't know how. I have the desktop icon on my... I have the icon on my desktop, right? And I save it after every video. So I thought I saved it after the last video, but apparently I didn't. And now the map is just completely wrong. It's back in episode. So I'm probably going to have to redraw it, which is going to suck because it's not going to look how it did in the actual video. And also, I really just don't want to redraw it because that takes forever to do. You guys don't see it in the video because it edits it out, but I have to go through and draw it, and I'm not looking forward to that. So this video was going to be an alternate future video, but since that happened, it's not. And yeah, so I apologize about that. I don't know when the next alternate future video will be, but for now we have this series, which is looking good so far. So thank you guys for watching this video. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Remember, we're trying to get to 200,000 subscribers by the end of 2024. We have a whole 11.5 months to get there, which is plenty of time. So that doesn't mean you shouldn't show support now. all the support now. I mean, if we get there sooner, that's even better. So yeah, like, subscribe, all that good stuff helps me out, helps the channel out. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.